Hello students, welcome back. From today we start with our semester second. Now in semester second for zoology we study the animal diversity second. The course that is zoology Z0121. So the paper first is animal diversity second. In that we have to study the first chapter which is correlate with the phylum Aschelminthes. So from today we starts with the Aschelminthes. So the picture of roundworm that is in front of you. So we have to study all such animals which we call them as the roundworms. So we study all those roundworms in phylum Aschelminthes. The term Aschelminthes derived from the Greek word. Two Greek words they combine together to produces the Aschelminthes, name of the phylum. Which are those two words? So the first word is the ascos. The meaning of that word is cavity, and helminths. So the meaning of that word which is worm. So in short, the phylum Aschelminthes having the meaning that worms with cavity. So here in this phylum, we just group such a worms who possesses the body cavity inside them. So we are making the group of all such a worms and call them as phylum Aschelminthes. Okay, so the member of this phylum which occupy all the habitat from habitable space of the earth. So if you just study the habitat, so many of the roundworms they lived as a parasites. So parasites means what? They lived inside the body of plant or animal which act as a host for them, and those plants and animals they provide the food material to them. So here these Aschelminthes they are dependent on either plants or animals for getting their food material or for getting the shelter. So both food and shelter they get from their host, and the host may be plant or animal. And when they are present inside the body of that plant or animal, they cause serious diseases to them. And since we call them as a parasites, so they causes serious agricultural, veterinary and human health problems, because they are present inside the body of plant also, and they are present inside the animal of inside the body of animal also, which includes human being also. So when they are present inside the body of plant they cause the agricultural damage, and when they are present inside the body of animal including human they causes the veterinary and the human health problem. So roundworms, which are also free living and occur in the fresh water, as well as they are present in a sea water, and they are also present in the soil. Means they are not only act as a parasite, but they lived freely in the water, in aquatic habitat and in the terrestrial habitat. So when they are present in the aquatic habitat, they are present in the fresh water and sea water. Means both the types of habitats they cover, marine habitat and freshwater habitat, as well as they are present in the soil too. The second one, the body form. See, they are called as a roundworms. The name itself indicate that as their body appears circular when we are going to take a cross section of their body, and since we call them as the roundworms, body of those animals are unsegmented. Means segments are totally absent since we call unsegmented body. Third character is body wall. See, it consists of firm, non-living, resistant cuticle, and the syncytial epidermis is present, as well as the muscle layer is present. So this is about the body wall. The cuticle which play important role because it is the outermost protective covering of the skin. Then that's next character, that is the body cavity. The body cavity is called as a pseudocoel or pseudocoelom. Coelom means cavity and pseudo means false. So the false cavity is there as it develops from the blastocele of the embryo. Means at the time of embryonic development, the blastocele is a cavity and the body cavity is produces from that blastocele at which is present at the time of embryonic development. So pseudocoel which is filled with the pseudocoelomic fluid. The fluid which is present in the pseudocoelom, that is known as pseudocoelomic fluid. If we just observe the diagram, see here the cross section is observed here, and the roundworms, they possesses different types of organ system, the level of body organization. Okay, then the alimentary canal is complete with a well developed muscular pharynx. See here, if you are able to observe, so this is the circular shaped structure. So this is the actual worm, but if we take a cross section like this way, we are able to observe such a type of the circular structure, since we call them as the round worms. Here you are able to observe the different types of the parts, internal body parts, if we cut the animal in a cross section. Next, the digestive tract. See the alimentary canal which is complete with a muscular pharynx. Complete means it starts with the mouth and ends at the anus. Next character is related with the skeletal, respiratory and circulatory system. Actually, all those systems are absent. In the pseudocoelomic fluid which is present in the pseudocoelom, which maintains the proper shape of the body. And since there is a absence of the skeleton, endoskeleton or exoskeleton. So here the shape of the body of the animal is due to the hydroskeleton, the pressure which is created by the pseudocoelomic fluid. Then the gaseous exchange which is takes place, and that gaseous exchange is present in aerobic respiration or aerobic condition, and which is occurred by the process of diffusion. And for the process of diffusion, the body surface of the animal is helpful. So in short, we can say that the gaseous exchange or the respiration which is takes place by the body surface with the process, we called it as the diffusion. Then the pseudocoelomic fluid which transports the material, and since the circulatory system is also absent. So the pseudocoelomic fluid which play all the type of role, like it is act as the skeleton, it is helpful for respiration as well as it is act as the circulatory system, just like similar to that of the circulatory system, because it is helpful for transporting the material. Then the next system is the excretory system. See the excretory system which consists of the gland cells or of canals or of both. And in Ascaris, H-shaped excretory system of the canal and completed giant cells which are known as the renate cells are present. The ammonia which is act as the main excretory material, and Ascaris also excretes the urea. So the waste material which is excreted either in the form of ammonia, and in case of Ascaris it is also excreted in the form of urea in addition to the ammonia. Then in nervous system, it is consist of the circumpharyngeal ring that gives rise to nerves forward as well as backward. So this is about the nervous system. Sense organs like papillae, amphids, phasmids, they are present. Papillae which occur on the lips on the sides of anterior end in the both male and female animals. and in front and behind the cloacal aperture. And all the papillae, they are tactile in a function. They receives the sensation of touch, since we call them as the tactile in function. Amphids, we also call them as a pits. They are present on the lips and are chemoreceptors. So they are useful to receive the sensation of different chemicals, since we call them as the chemoreceptors. Then phasmids are there, which are unicellular glands which are located upon the lateral sides of the posterior end and the glandulosensory. They are glandulosensory in nature. Okay, so all this is about the three different type of the sense organ. The animals in phylum Aschelminthes, in that the sexes are separate, means in other words we call them as a dioecious animal, and generally they show the sexual dimorphism, means we can easily without dissecting the animal, we can easily identify whether it is the male or whether it is a female. So there are certain characters, due to the presence or absence of that particular character, we can easily identify whether it is a male or female. So we call it as a sexual dimorphic character. So same characters which are present here also in a phylum Aschelminthes. So what is that character? So that character is the females which are longer in a male. And in other cases like the Ascaris, we can also observe the different types of the characters. Like in case of the female which is longer, the tail is straight, and in case of the male which is short, the posterior end is present in the curve shape. So these are the some characters on the basis of which we can easily identify the whether the animal is male or female. Then the fertilization is internal. The fertilization takes place inside the body of the animal, since we call it as an internal fertilization. And remember that there is an absence of sexual reproduction. So the Aschelminthes, animals from Aschelminthes, they produces by the process of sexual reproduction only. The next character, that is development. The development may be direct or indirect. Direct means what? During the indirect development, the larva is present, and we call the filariform larva, which is present in the encyclostoma, which in general called as a hookworm. Then the microfilaria larva, which is present in the Wuchereria bancrofti. In general, we call it as the filarial worm. Mostly it causes the disease elephantiasis, or in Marathi we call it as a hattipai. Then the rhabditiform larva, which is present in Ascaris, and in the another worm we call it as a pinworm. It is also known as the enterobius. See here, you are able to observe the male Ascaris. See, this is the male Ascaris which is short, and this is the female Ascaris which is longer in a length. If you observe the posterior end, it is curved in case of male, and in case of female it is straight. Okay. So here you are able to observe the lips. Okay, so the mouth is there, and the mouth is guarded by the lips. Hmm? So this is the structure we call, sorry, posterior end, sorry. So this in this diagram we are able to observe the mouth and the lips of the Ascaris, and these lips, they are helpful actually to remain attached to the internal organs of the body of the host. Then in the last diagram here, it represents the posterior end of the male, which indicates the presence of papillae. Okay, so this is the anterior most end, and this is the posterior end. Okay, so this is about the Ascaris. See, these are the examples of different animals from Aschelminthes. The rhabditids, then the Dracunculus, Ascaris, then Loa Loa. So these are the different types of the animals. If we just start the classification of Aschelminthes, here In class Nematoda, only this is the only class which is present in classification of Aschelminthes. So in this video, we studied the meaning of the word Aschelminthes and the general characters of Aschelminthes. And we just studied that there is a one class, that is the Nematoda. So remaining other classification of Aschelminthes, we will study it in the next video. Thank you.